This is not a story about a cheating partner. It's not a story about a boss who stole credit or a family member who manipulated a will. This is the kind of betrayal people talk about less because it's harder to explain, because the person who betrayed you isn't someone you were supposed to be on guard against. Her name was Jess. She had been my best friend for 14 years. She was the first person I called when anything happened, good or bad. She knew things about me that I have never told another living soul. And I spent 14 years not knowing who she actually was. This is what I found out, and what I did with it. Jess and I had met in university. We were put in the same flat in first year by pure administrative luck. And within 6 weeks, it was clear we were going to be friends for a very long time. She was funny, charismatic, the kind of person who made you feel like you were the most interesting person in the room when she gave you her attention. People were drawn to her. I was drawn to her. Over 14 years, she was at every important moment in my life. She sat with me in a hospital corridor when my father had his first heart attack. She drove 200 miles at 11 o'clock at night when my relationship ended. She was my maid of honor. That is the thing about this kind of betrayal. The friendship was real, at least on one side. The history was real. The moments were real. What wasn't real was who she was in them. I started noticing things about 3 years before the end. Small inconsistencies, stories that didn't quite line up, dates she had mentioned that didn't match, people she had described in detail who, when I tried to reference them later, she had apparently never mentioned. I told myself I was misremembering. I had no reason to believe otherwise. She was my best friend. The moment I can trace everything back to is a dinner party at a mutual friend's house. There were 8 of us at the table. Wine, easy conversation, a long, comfortable evening. At some point, Jess mentioned a story about her younger sister. A specific story. A holiday. A falling out. Details I had never heard before. I didn't say anything in the room, but later in the car I asked, "When did you and your sister make up?" I didn't know things had improved. Jess looked at the road for a moment. "Oh yeah, we've been better for a while now." I probably didn't mention it. I had known Jess for 12 years at that point. I had never once heard her mention a sister. I had met her parents, spent Christmas with her family, seen the photos on her walls. There is no sister. I said nothing else that night, but something had shifted in me quietly and permanently, and I started paying attention in a different way. Over the next 2 years, I started making a mental record. Not obsessively, not with malice, just paying attention to the details. The job she had described at a prominent architecture firm, the one she had apparently worked at for 2 years before I met her. I looked them up one afternoon. I searched the staff history. I found nothing. The year abroad she had always referenced, a formative 6 months in Lisbon that she had mentioned dozens of times. I found an old Facebook post from that exact period. She was in Sheffield, the friend she had spoken about for years, her closest friend before me, the one who had moved to Australia. I had a name. I searched. The person existed, but according to every online trace I could find, they had never met. I want to be very precise about what I was discovering. It was not that she had exaggerated. It was not that she had misremembered. Every lie was specific. Every lie was detailed. Every lie had been maintained consistently across years. This was not carelessness. This was construction. I didn't confront her. Not yet, because the more I looked, the more I found, and I needed to understand the scale of it before I did anything at all. The question that kept me awake at night was not who she actually was. It was why. I chose a Sunday afternoon. Her flat. Just the 2 of us. I brought coffee and I sat across from her and I let us talk normally for a while. About nothing, because I needed the room to feel safe before it became hard. And then I said, "Jess, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. I'm not angry. I just need to understand. Okay, do you have a sister? She put her mug down. She looked at the table, and then she looked at me. No. We sat with that for a moment. The firm in Edinburgh, the 6 months in Lisbon, the friend who moved to Australia. No, she didn't defend it. She didn't try to explain it. She just deflated, like someone who had been holding something up for a very long time and had finally run out of the energy to keep holding it. How long have you known? Long enough. But I wanted to tell me why. And she told me. Not everything. I don't think she is capable of telling anyone everything. But enough. She had started building the false history before we met. Before university. Before any of it. She had grown up in a family where, in her own words, nothing she was had ever been enough. Not her grades. Not her interests. Not her ambitions. Not her. So, she had built a version of herself that was. Piece by piece. Year by year, a career history that sounded more impressive, a personal history that sounded more interesting, relationships and experiences that sounded more meaningful. By the time I met you, it had been going on for so long, I didn't know how to be anything else. And then I actually liked you, and I was terrified. The longer it went on, the less I could say anything. Because by then, how do you start? What do you even say? By the way, I've been lying to you for a decade. I didn't say anything for a long time. I want to be honest about what I felt in that moment, because it wasn't what I expected. I expected anger. I had prepared for anger. What I actually felt was something much harder to name, a grief for the version of the friendship I thought I had. And underneath that, something even more unsettling. The realization that some of what she had said about herself might have been false, but every single thing she had said about me, her observations, her care, her understanding of who I was, had been real. She had lied about herself. She had never lied about me. That distinction took me a long time to make sense of. I did not end a friendship that afternoon. I went home. I sat with everything she had told me. I went back 3 weeks later, and I said, I can't be your friend the way I was, because the person I was friends with wasn't entirely real. And I don't know yet what it means to be friends with the actual you. If that's even something we can build. I understand. We haven't spoken since. Not out of anger. Out of something more complicated. Out of the recognition that the friendship we had required a version of her that no longer existed. And the friendship we might have had would have to be built from scratch by two people who weren't sure either of them had the energy for it. People ask me sometimes whether I'm angry. And honestly, less than you'd think. What I feel more is a strange, specific sadness. Because I miss her. I miss the person I thought she was. And the extraordinary thing is, in most of the ways that mattered, the person I miss was real. She just had a false floor underneath her. I lost a 14-year friendship. She lost the only person who had ever known her, even partially, as she actually was. I'm not sure which of us lost more. I've thought about Jess a lot since then. Not with bitterness. With something more like curiosity. I wonder what it costs to maintain a constructed self across 14 years. To remember which version of your history you told to which person. To never be able to be fully known by anyone, because the foundation beneath everything is unstable. I wonder if she is still doing it. I wonder if she knows how to stop. And I wonder, sometimes, whether what I had with her was a friendship built on lies or a real friendship with a damaged person inside it. I still don't have a clean answer to that. Maybe that's the point. If this story stayed with you, there are more below. And if something in it felt familiar, trust that feeling. Small inconsistencies, over time, add up to something worth looking at.